You're watching my favorite YouTube channel. I'm here with Cool Colas, author, social media personality, woke pundit. What else do you want?
No, well, pundit, pro black media analyst.
That's woke.
I don't use that word, but
Why?
I like pro black better than like using the word woke because of how much it's been kind of co-opted.
Do you want to be passive, or do you want to let the appropriation go by without a fight?
It's like a buzz term now. Like it's some people are using it to mean other things, outside of, blackness, because originally when we talked about this whole idea of being woke, it was supposed to be for black people who had their eyes open to certain things that were happening to their people. But when we say pro blackness, that's very specific to black people.
Fine, you got me.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
wasn't even that serious, honestly.
Yeah.
So,
No, I was answering for you.
right here today, we're here to chat about Iyanu, the Child of Wonder. We all know that there's this brand new cartoon that's Cartoon Network is behind, and Max are also behind. Unique Studios produced this. They're a company coming out of Nigeria. They have comic books that they're adapting into a cartoon. I can't wait for the cartoon in spring of 2025. I have to see what the comic books had to offer. So that's what brings us here. First reading. We went on Unique Studios' website. You get a 30-day free trial. All you got to do is enter your credit card information, which Chillmonger just did, which gets us to this page here. Look how easy that was. It was just a few clicks away. All I had to do was enter my credit information, the three numbers at the back of the credit card. Bob's your uncle. So I got this for free. The reader is pretty good. I don't know. I like that. It gets both the pages on screen at once. You get to read I mean, this is what do you want? What else do you want? Comicsology type, right?
Uh-huh.
You impressed by this the way I'm impressed, or am I hyping it too much?
No, it looks good. Looks really good.
Where am I? Where am I? Where am I? Okay, you can
Yeah,
actually see
it looks
this.
really nice.
Yeah. Ilu, a long time ago, forest region. How we feel about this artwork?
I think the artwork is dope. I kind of like the color scheme, like the way they're kind of setting up with all like the green and stuff like that. Cause it kind of sets the tone for the background already. So that's cool.
Yeah, not that I know too much about art, but I believe these are watercolors.
Hmm.
Hope it's not
Yeah,
artificial.
I don't know either. I'm more of a writer and that type of thing. I'm not really an artist like that, so I'm not really too privy to the art scene as well. So I'm with you.
I know it's not line art. I know these are painted
Yeah.
or some sophisticated AI images, but no, it can't be AI because the illustrations were by Godwin Akpan, so someone illustrated it.
Yeah, it don't look like AI to me, but yeah, I think you're right on the money with the whole watercolor thing because it kind of does have that kind of aesthetic.
Yeah. Now we're not going to read every single page, folks.
Yeah.
We we got to respect that, you guys have to pay for this, so we'll just do light commentary towards it, but we're definitely on this end reading every single page.
It low key kind of reminds me of, it's not like Disney, but it's kind of Disney esque with something else. It's like if you take Disney and, like you said, like that kind of painter esque type of vibe, and you smash them together, you basically get this.
I like how they show her, okay, I'm not going to shoot it. It's got a family. It's a mother deer. Let's let it go.
Hmm.
And to be honest, if you're a hunter, that's normal. You're not supposed to kill the babies. You're supposed to allow them to reproduce so that your source of food never gets extinct. You always wait for it to get old enough to have a child itself, and then you can start hunting the older animals.
Yeah, it looked like she about to be on some Bambi shit, like from what I see here.
She lets it pass. No, she twips. No, it went away. See, the two are still alive down there in the bottom.
Interesting. Okay.
So why do you think they spent so many pages just to illustrate that? Like, I get it. She's a nice person. Okay,
Hmm.
that's what I'm supposed to take from this. Cool. And it's not like it's a Marvel comic, DC comic where there's only 20 pages. There's no page count. They could go as long as they want. This was a 31 pager.
Hmm. I think they're trying to do like you said, nonverbals to try to set the tone for who these characters are and their personalities and also their values. So I can kind of see that.
What are they doing?
It
They're
looks like
like acrobatically holding themselves up.
they're doing like some type of acrobatic act. It looks like. Yep.
This may be their culture of Nigeria being infused in this.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They're called the Alarinjo. And now, if this becomes a lesson, that will turn me off. If they stop the comic and the story and this girl and her feelings and her emotions and the main characters just to show us, hey, circuses, all those acts, they originate here. Like, I don't need the lesson. I love lessons. I do love history, and I do like think it's important to spotlight things sometimes.
Yeah.
But the point of this comic is to make the readers fall in love with a woman from that part of the world. Don't
Mhm.
get too hell bent on we gotta educate, we gotta educate.
Mm. I understand where you're coming from with that, but I was gonna say I feel like every single piece of work that you are going to look at, whether it be a movie, whether it be a TV show, is going to do that to some extent, but it kind of more so depends on the way they go about it. You know what I mean? Because if you look at a lot of stuff, even like some of these cartoons, they're super allegorical, bro. So what that means is that they're really talking about history, but it doesn't look like they are. And I think that if they go that route, I think it'll be fine. Even if they talk about history, I think that's cool too. Because me personally, as an analyst, I'll be honest with you, I kind of like the idea of seeing how people get creative with telling history, because I already know in my mind the minute that I watch anything or read anything, there's probably going to be some historical element to it or some allegorical thing that talks about somebody's history. Because that's just how they roll with these different media depictions.
Yeah, sometimes even when we don't intend it, we're bolstering something from the
Mhm,
past that we just have it come to accept as norm. But the
mhm,
longer we do it, the more we solidify it, and the longer it's established. Let me full screen it more. Editing is going to be a nightmare. So, what was it that flicked the wall? He says, "Get out of here, Forest Girl. Get out. You are not welcome here." They're all laughing at him. Abi,
mhm,
stop it. Toye, are you taking sides with this savage girl? Hey, I'm just saying we should ignore her and go back to your grand uncle's funeral. My Baba is Oba now, which means I can have you exiled for taking sides with the savage. Now address her appropriately. Uh-oh, peer pressure. What's he gonna do?
mm-mm.
He says, "Go away, Forest Girl."
Yo, but I was gonna say, I know you say you don't like history and all, but there is a big lesson I think they're trying to say, and I kind of picked this up too, even from like the intro with that. I did want to point out real quick. I think what the issue that they're trying to bring up is that there's a level of tribalism in Africa,
Yeah.
which is a fact. And so they're trying to show the tribalistic aspect in the comic book while also like trying to talk about a comic itself. So I kind of picked that up from just this little scene, but also the intro as well too. So yeah, it's bound to happen, man. It's bound to happen. That's what I'm
Isn't it
basically.
isn't it nuts? You're the Forest Girl. Now apply that to where we live. I live in Toronto. You live in somewhere in America.
Yeah.
If someone's in the city
Hmm.
and that the outskirts next door, so in Newark, compared
Hmm.
to somebody from I guess Manhattan,
Yeah.
we don't do that. We don't go, well, you're from all the way over there. Yeah, you're a forest girl. You're minimalized all that stuff. But over there in Africa, they have these tribes, and
Yeah.
even though everyone looks the same and they're subjected to the same sort of global status, tribe mentality has
Yeah.
taught them that they are separate people, and unity would have been, but it still is, will be a much more successful method as soon as people can figure that out. And I think the
Mhm,
youth are figuring it out more so.
mhm.
um the quicker the continent is liberated.
Yeah, I want to add on to that too. Another thing that I think is really important is that maybe I would go a little bit deeper than what you said, which is your message there was that unity is what's going to keep, Africans specifically liberated. I think it's actually deeper than that. I think we need to be on code. So that's a mentality, right? Because being on code is actually what helps the unity to stay. And part of being on code is to be able to figure out the individuals who have these tribalistic values and the way that they use them and the way that they exploit them deceptively. So my point here is that we can't really save everybody, but being on code is the main thing that we need to look at, whether you're in America or whether you're in Africa. But the problem is that a lot of times in Africa there is a lot of like tribalistic values, and a lot of times they'll even try to project it onto America, specifically they'll talk about how like, oh yeah, there's a bunch of gangs in United States, so you foundational Black Americans, like y'all are tribalistic too. And I'm like, that it don't work like that. It really doesn't. Like you're trying to compare all these different tribes and them beefing with each other and being cutthroat with gang culture from back in the day, because a lot of gangs now really like Bloods and Crips and things like that. A lot of them work together actually. So that's why I'm like, I don't, yeah, it's definitely a thing, but it's all about being on code more than anything.
A lot of just like art instead of words, eh? I don't like that. I want to see words.
So you don't like the idea that they're trying to like show the emotions of the characters. You want to more so hear the dialogue between them.
How many times can you show me her crying? Like look, there's one hand on her face. Now there's two hands on her face from the side view, and now there's two hands on her face in the front view. Like that,
Well, uh,
me,
let's see,
huh?
maybe at least some powers or something. Let's. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it leads to powers. Who knows?
Yeah.
She got the ability to cry. Yo, her eyes are glowing blue. What happened? Let me rewind one page. I'm sorry, maybe I missed it, but I'm complaining for no reason. She's crying, crying, crying. There's something blue behind her, like a blue wind,
hmm
a lightning storm. We got the big sound effect of crackle, so that's lightning.
hmm
And then the very next
I kind of like
page,
how they did that.
this is where she gets her powers. Then
Yep, that's what I said. It kind of looked like it's leading some powers or something like that. Like it kind of reminds me of Dragon Ball Z, where like the Saiyans, they're so pissed off, from like having some level of grief, and then they go super, and they spend a long time showing like how emotional they are until like they, their hair starts glowing and the color of the eye starts changing, all this other stuff. So it kind of reminds me of that.
I guess that's a scene from the future.
hmm
See the ring down there. A lot of mysterious stuff. So if we keep with this series, we'll probably understand each and every one of these circles. But they're just kind of trying to show us that they've got a plan with this comic book.
Yeah, they got a little crest at the bottom over there, looking like the Orichalcos from Yu-Gi-Oh.
Iyanu Kilodi, which means what's wrong in the Yoruba language.
hmm
And she says Ike Ali, which means good evening. Ikali
hmm
ma. And she says, Cabo, now tell me what happened. Welcome. Now tell me what happened. A little bit too much for me. Again, this is preachy, isn't it? Or this is like an education, I should say. And I don't really want to see all these different foreign words. Like one time, cool. Oh, is that how you say the word welcome? Oh, is that how you say good evening? I'm with it. But they did
hmm
three in a row, and I'm like,
hmm
it just
That
it hurt the
bothers me.
flow. Nothing major. Nothing major.
hmm Yeah, it don't bother me so much because I think they're staying true to the culture of that. But
I'm still reading it in English. This is still lettered in English language. So
yeah, I think that to your point, I think what could be helpful is to say this is typically like in a Yoruba language, but for translation purposes, you'll see it in English. Like not saying it like that, 'cause that sounds real robotic, but at least putting out that disclaimer. I think to your point, I could see how that could be one way they could go about it. But me personally, I don't really see nothing wrong with it.
wait, if she says it happened again, then that wasn't her origin. Since that's the first time we're seeing it, but not the first time it happened, I'm kind of happy. Like we're
hmm
picking up with someone who doesn't have to, I don't want to watch the building blocks. I want to see someone who's a little bit more familiar with what they've got going on. If you
Yeah,
watch Naruto, which you don't, you'll
yeah,
know that he's already like pretty ninja savvy. He can throw a kunai knife, maybe not with the best of ease, but he's got the basics down, so that's good. She's
most
got the
def,
basics down.
most def.
What triggered your powers this time? The inners. They were laughing at me. Iyanu? Iyanu? Iyanu, how many times did I call your name, eh? I've told you, never approach the inner walls. I guess that's what inner means now. Now we know.
I just want to know why this kind of nitpicky, but why she say her name three times though? Like I really want to know. When she said Yanu, 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 like why she say her name that much? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that was just me. Maybe I'm reading more into it. But anyway.
I've told you never approach the inner walls or any of the other districts. You are never to leave the forest. Do you know how dangerous it is? I know. I'm sorry, Olori. I just wanted to see the Ipade and the Alaranjo. That's all, I promise. And the word Ipade means funeral. She just wants to
Mhm.
see the funeral. Close up of her eyes. This is just like the artist had enough space at the bottom, so he's like, I can do one more panel.
Yeah. hmm
From the moment I found you in this very forest 5 years ago, I knew you were a special child, a child of wonder. But the people of Elu will never accept you. They will fear you, and that fear will lead to hate. It was the same hate that drove them to cast me, the last of Agani, out. Oh, you were on the money when you're talking about tribes.
Yep. hmm I could just tell. I've been studying this stuff so long, bro. I can kind of tell what direction they kind of going. And really, to be real with you, that trailer that I saw, it told me everything I needed to know when the boy was telling the story about how there were different wars that were going on. Because I'm sitting there thinking, what the hell does wars mean?
Our entire history was wiped away during the Divine Wars 500 years ago. Now, all that's left from the war are the big walls that keep Yoruba land separated. Secrets of our past further lost because our people cannot unite.
Like the secrets kept by Diagoni.
Yes, as they've vanished, so have the reminders of how great we used to be.
So to me, that sounded like tribalism, which it sounds like that's what's going on here too.
What would be a responsible message if the moral is the heroes from tribe A, B, and C are like a unit?
I think that we would need to go back to what the real problem is. So I think that it's showcasing an issue with a black culture without talking about the root of how they got to start having this nature. I think when a lot of these cultures are ruled by white supremacy, and as a result, they mess up their governments and the stuff that they do. And as a result, you got different tribes that beef with each other, and they get real cutthroat and all this other stuff. So I think that I think that the direction of the way they're telling the story already kind of missed something that was much bigger, and they're telling the story of something smaller, and hoping that you're going to try to see that that's the biggest issue. They do that a lot with like a lot of American like lore as well too, where I'll give you an example so it doesn't sound confusing. Look at like a lot of these trauma porn type of shows. Snowfall's a good example. Like these kind of like trauma porn, trauma sauce type of things where they show you a black villain and a black hero, and they're both in the hood. One's a drug lord who's trying to help his people, and the other one is some like gangster who's trying to like pick off everybody in the hood. What I mean by that is they're showcasing that the problem is the black people that are fighting with each other, the infighting, when the real issue is that the hood was created in the first place because of white supremacy. That's basically what I'm getting at. So they already messed up by even starting there. But since we're talking, though, if we're talking about this, the majoring and the minors here again, as I talked about before, I guess the thing would be to talk about how to bring people together and be on code. That would be like the solution to a smaller problem.
I can see them going that way, and it helps because I know in the trailer, what was his name? Awe? That boy is part of the show, and he's one of the friends with her. And so I kind of knew that's where that was going to be going eventually.
Yeah.
I prepared your favorite pounded yam and goat meat. I'm not going to keep this in the video, Colas, but I find that whenever someone wants to highlight culture in a comic book, food is always there. There's always the scene where the hero opens up a fridge and goes, it's, and says the name of the food in the foreign language.
Well, I was going to say, one, you should keep this, but outside of that, like, I get what you're saying, because they do that. Because if this was something that was Black American based, they wouldn't be talking about no pounded yam and goat and all that. Because our culture, foundation of Black Americans really don't know what that is for real. So yeah.
Yep. You got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes.
Not Shirley Caesar.
Yam's is one of them.
Well, with the Africans' pounded yam is different than like the yams that you would have at your mama's crib, like on like a holiday. Like it's different.
Royal Palace, the inner walls. So remember, we learned that this was the father of the bully. We are gathered here for our very first meeting since the passing of my dear uncle and predecessor, Oba Adiniyi. I'm gonna complain. The names here are very hard to remember, and I would have thrown in like a Michael or a just one or two, or like a little 2-syllable word here and there, just to make it more easily accessible for everybody. But there's also power in normalizing foreign names like that. So
I think they're trying to normalize the like the African culture, a little bit more, which like I said, I understand, because everybody's been so used to these European names and things like that, and these Western, American names and whatnot. Because think about it, like if somebody was reading a comic and it was Swedish, nobody would be mad if somebody's last name was Pavinsky or some shit, although that's totally different than what you may hear as an American last name. I don't know, I think people won't get that nitpicky about it.
As sudden and heartbreaking as his death is, for the sake of Elu, for the sake of our people, for the sake of what is left of Yorubuland, we must forge ahead. Bro, he has something to do with that murder. Look at this face he's making here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say about that.
He just wanted to be king like Scar. He says, Oba, I, Nuru Chancellor and Basurin of the Elu, Messi, assure you that without a doubt we stand behind you. The tragic death of Oba Adenisi's son years ago left him with no heirs. The selection ritual left no doubt you are the rightful Arimo, the true heir to the throne of Eli. Even though I don't understand what all these words are, I can kind of piece it together.
Mm-hmm. It looked like he got some regret on his face too at the end there. Some regret, or like he's thinking about some things that he ain't saying. So I can kind of see.
Yeah, see? No, he's just tired of all this exposition dude is dumping on the left. He's like, I guess we got to for the new readers.
Yeah.
Let us begin. Oba, if I may. Before his death, one of the things Oba Adeni has spoken to me about was lifting the ban on citizens exploring beyond the wall. We could access more resources, build more, as well as help other settlements. It was a heavy desire of his too. Blasphemy! In 500 years, only the Esu have been permitted outside the walls, and for two reasons only: to collect the Oba's tributes and to keep the corrupt at bay. With great respect, Elder Laguna, we have done the same thing for 500 years, and what do we have to show for it but overpopulation, squalor, and starvation within the outer walls? As ambassador of Elu, perhaps it would be beneficial if you visited the people who live beyond the inner. Careful how you speak, Uwa. You are only permitted to this council meeting because you have royal blood. Hey, look, we got an older man with a white beard. We got a younger guy with no beard. We know what that is.
Yep.
That's plain and easy to see.
Yep. I wanted to cut in. This is actually like talking a little bit about what I had said, which is that they're showing how, there's some systemic issues that are going on in Africa. In this instance, I guess Nigeria. And they're showing how like a lot of these the white supremacists have come over there, and they've kind of like caused a lot of division between the African tribes. And you have like this younger African who's trying to bring them back together. And then you got their version of the old niggas. I think I've talked about this before on my channel. They have their version of the old niggas who want to kind of keep things the same, and they're cool with buck dancing and whatnot. And you got the younger ones who are trying to kind of get some things together, get people all like one code. So I feel like they're trying to tell that message without really saying it, and they're showing Africa's version of it versus what we see here in the United States.
And I would say you're alienating half of your audience, the older people, but older people aren't really reading comics like that. So every young person's probably like sympathizing with this new blood.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say that because and I've talked about this too on one of my videos. I've talked about how there's a difference between elders and old niggas. The difference between elders and old niggas is elders are people with wisdom that can impart things onto their progeny and then future generations. The old niggas are just people who have just grown in age and are still ignorant as hell. It's totally different. One group is very selfish. One group loves to impart things because they want to see, generations thrive.
Michiu, you will be dead in minutes. Ikun, the worst of all the corrupt lurkers, lurks closer and closer each fortnight. He has taken the lives of many of my men. Legend has it, he searches for the chosen. Finally, we got some comic book stuff of, some regular old fantasy in here.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main villain.
Yeah.
Ikun, E-K-U-N. I'll remember that one. Elder Alapini, this is the very reason you and the Esso must. Enough! I will hear no more about the futile expeditions and ignorant fairy tales. Years ago, we all made a pact with the Olori. In exchange for her knowledge, we have allowed her and her apprentice to remain within the extremities of the outer wall, the forest region. But I fear she has long overstayed her welcome. She can no longer be trusted. That's the name of the person Iyanu was talking to, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe
right.
so.
Why do we cleanse the corrupt? We do what we do for the good of Eli. Who are the Agani, keepers of secrets, protectors of the history of Yorubuland?
I'm glad we're now getting to see a little bit of action.
See, I'm such a word reader. I just skipped the action. So yeah, they're training some fight. She's she elbowed her right here. Is that what's happening?
It looks like she's blocking, like she might be trying to either use her elbow or I don't know if she's holding some. I can't really tell right there.
Yeah, she is holding a dagger.
Yeah, and old girl's blocking it. That's what it looks like to me.
Huh.
Mm.
Why do we take an apprentice? To pass on knowledge, to keep hope alive through the wisdom of our ancestors. You're getting much better, but you still have much to learn. A
Mm.
little power scaling. I assume that the older is the better fighter, and we got confirmation down there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
We do all this, yet the inners hate us so much, treat us like outcasts. Why? What did the Agoni do to them? Have you not enough love out here in the forest with me? I do, Olori. It's just that you never talk to me about.
Mm.
Ooh, here comes a page turn. So they're looking at this dog. Okay, it's in a
Mm-hmm.
cage.
Yeah.
Just got
Eyes kind of
interrupted.
red.
Make your prediction. What are they gonna get cut off with?
Shoot, I can't even tell. I mean, it looked like I'm trying to figure out why that dog or whatever that animal's eye, why is it red like that? So I don't know. It's got something to do with that, is what I'm
Yup.
thinking.
And I remember watching the trailer, and she had to cleanse the rhino of the red eyes.
Yep.
So,
Mm-hmm.
we
Yeah,
predicted it.
we
See
on the
the
same
trailer.
page. Yep.
Yeah. Next page, it
Yep.
goes to no, actually, literally nothing happened. What?
Yeah.
that
Let's
that
see.
should,
Then that should be enough. I will tell you more when the time is right. Okay.
all you need to know right now is that we are symbiotic, and she splashes some water. Cool art. I like it.
Mm. They're not showing you that for no reason, although they didn't really elaborate. Like they're still they're still showing you the animal, whatever the hell that thing is, with like the red eye and whatnot. So, yeah, they're definitely gonna come back to that.
I found you in the forest. I know, but I didn't just appear from nowhere. Where did I come from? Who are my real? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, here's a good thing. See, that's a good thing.
Uh-huh.
She does have parents. They are
Yep,
alive.
yep,
And
that's what you was wondering. Yep.
that's all I needed. And then we speak a whole different language. And what that means in translation is if the rat can be reasonably calm and patient, it would have a taste of the cat's wealth.
You know, and
Patience.
I was gonna say real quick, I feel you on the parents thing because what I find in a lot of storytelling is that having like a character's parents still be alive or that type of thing is good for maybe a dramatic effect where if they get killed off, like in a comic series or whatever the case may be, you can see like in later seasons or later arcs, if it's like a comic book, the evolution of the character because they lost somebody. So I do like when stories tend to like keep like the family alive or keep like most of their family alive, right? Like it's cool to have like a dramatic backstory and maybe somebody is dead in some cases, but I can see why it would also be important to know kind of what's happened there, or at least if they're alive.
There's also like a nasty statistic I saw where it's
Uh-huh.
over 50%, but the majority of black families are single parents. And
Mm-hmm.
that's disgusting. And I need to see anyone, any
Yeah.
character, specifically any race. It's always good to promote a nuclear family, but
Yeah.
specifically if your skin has a decent amount of melanin in it, I want to know that both of your parents are there so that enough of seeing it makes
Mhm.
you, influenced to be a father who sticks around or a mother who, works it through the relationship just to
Mhm.
incentivize a family sticking together.
I agree with that, but I think I care more when it comes to the nuclear family when it not necessarily so much for a parent as much as like the actual relationship. So in other words, if you have a male character, a black male character who is a superhero and he has a wife and or like it's a black female superhero character and she has a husband and he's black or like I said vice versa or like it's a black male and she's black, that's more so what I want to see. I don't want to see a thing where she's a single mother and she's got kids or, she's swirling up and down. I don't want to see stuff like that. I want to
Yeah,
see
that
like,
too.
yeah, black family structures.
So we look around and we see how like desolate things are.
Mm-hmm.
I am curious, why are you so concerned for these people? You have a good life within the inner wall because someone must. And I didn't earn my comfort. I was simply born into the right circumstance.
Interesting.
Yeah, I like that message.
Interesting.
They weren't. Is that balanced or fair? Wise words. But why not just go to the Oba? He is your brother after all. I will, but he only has ears for Nuru now, which is why I came to you. Since
I
he's
kind
the
of
brother.
like that they did that. I kind of like that they have like a noble African character who is, he looks like he's a high class type of dude. He's kind of working with them and their tribe. He's like kind of has like a high up position and whatnot. It seems like, or some high up for him to be so young. And he seems to be codified or want to create codification. And as you kind of alluded to, unification with other Africans. So I like his character for that aspect, because typically they make these types of characters spoiled brats and products of the old niggas in that position. So I do like that.
With the opportunity for a storyteller to dethrone the current king and put in someone new, he's next in line. He's like the brother. He's in his lineage is there. One day he'll be the ruler. At the end of the comic, the final page, it'll be him going, "Good job, Iyanu. I dub thee, a knight," or something like that.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah.
Always got to have someone in the royal family. And because of your weakness, it will attack you first. Maybe we should stop. Oh, she crossed into the wall. Here we go. We got some action. She broke into the city through the little gap.
Mm-hmm.
Be careful. My Baba is the Oba, yes, but remember that my Baba is Kanfo, the Esso of Essos. Do you remember what that means?
Essos. No, what does that mean? You have to go back. I can't even remember.
I don't remember either. And if they only had like a couple of foreign words, I would have remembered. Look, I got it. They live on Elu, okay? And the old head leader was named like Adiyano. I remember that much. But like, yeah, see, too many foreign words. And I call that, like, we were on page 2 and I called that out. Here we are.
Yeah, I see why you feel that way. That makes a lot of sense. I would infer that it meant like the head honcho of head honchos. I don't know.
The SO of Essos.
Yep, that's what it sounds like.
I can hear it.
Yeah.
Leader of our fearless warriors and the one who protects us all from the corrupt, including your Baba. There it is. So the main guard is Toye's father, but the bully, his father is the king. I'm going to.
Wow.
Everyone run. You like that, eh?
Not the cheetah sound.
Yeah, this artwork isn't the best, honestly. I want to see a cheetah run, not like a, how do we know that's a cat? How do we know if that's a leopard? How do we know if that's anything? It could be a house cat for all I. This isn't very good art, if you ask me.
You're right. I only called it a cheetah based off of the sound you just made. But I think would have been a little bit more menacing would have been if we would have saw its face maybe up close or something like that. You know what I mean? Or its face and its claws like it's about to pounce. And then you see who the cheetah is about to pounce on. I don't know.
Yeah, the claws are not detailed. This isn't what I don't like it. Maybe there'll be a page coming up.
Kind of flat, like,
Yeah. Breach the inner wall. They won't get to him on time. Okay, here she is. She's got the shot. Toye turns around. It's right about to come and hit him. Now, this is what I was just criticizing the artwork. The angle here from the left, that's great. Huh?
I agree. I think it is great.
Cheetah still isn't detailed, but still, I get the point. And she's about to shoot a blue arrow.
It looks like it's like on fire or something like that. Some type of aura, maybe.
Yeah. It's going to cleanse it.
Yeah.
We got one more page left.
Okay, cool.
And I'm not going to talk about it on this stream. Nope. No. If you want to know exactly what happened, folks, we're going to know because we're going to turn the page right now. We're about to right now. But if you want to know what happened, you got to purchase this. You got to go to Unique Studios. I have the link down there in the description of this YouTube video. And so was Cool Colas's links. What links do you want me to add down there? What are down there right now?
To my YouTube channel, to my Instagram, and then that's it right now.
Time skip. We just read the final page. Yeah, and it ends exactly how you would think a comic would end, with a cliffhanger. What's going to happen next? Oh, I can't turn the page, or I can't click on the next page. I guess I got to pay to see what happens. And thankfully, there's already 12 issues of Iyanu on the website, and I'm going to get to issue 2 lickety split. And so can you if you check out their comic book website, Unique Studios, for all the pages, because we didn't show you everything, because we can't give you everything for free. You got to support them. Even though technically it's free, it's a free trial. Colas, what do you want to leave us on? Did you enjoy this comic? A scale of 1 to 10, what would you grade it?
I probably would say maybe about a 7. I thought that it was. I like the way that they're setting the tone. I do like the way that they're talking about. They're showing the origin. Well, not necessarily the origin, but they're showing us midway through kind of like that. I guess our first look at her and her powers, but not necessarily the fact that her powers, that was the first time that she had ever got them, but it was just the first time that they were showing us that. I thought that was cool. They were setting the tone for the other characters well enough that it didn't feel like it was too much. And I did like some of like the kind of art scenes, like for example, when you had brought up the thing about her about to shoot the bow and arrow, that was pretty cool. What I would say probably needs a little bit of work is I did feel like the art style kind of lacked in some places, kind of like you said. It felt like sometimes it wasn't developed, like when we saw like the cheetah, for example, and things like that. Yeah, I think it's a little bit too early to tell for the rest of it. The storytelling seems fine, but yeah, I'd probably say about a 7.
I'll give them points for the world they created and
Mhm.
how Elu has these inner walls and the outside walls.
Yeah.
There's the last of a tribe, which was her mentor. I forget her name, but she's over here teaching her things for 5 years. She was with her for 5 years. I think she adopted her 5 years
Yep.
ago. She calls her
Mhm.
mom. That's a
Yep.
good, little relationship that they've got.
Yep.
Um, I want her to make friends with Toye, who's living on the inside. And I think
Mhm.
that, and they did a good job of teasing that. The
Yep.
world, though, that they live in doesn't have guns. So like the fighting is going to be more hand to hand, which is
Mhm.
much more better to look at. Speaking of looking at, the art style being different and from regular comics is a plus, even if there's
Mhm.
some undetailed or things that I wouldn't have printed, or I would have like told the artist, we can't submit this, got to
Yeah.
draw it better. Even though there are moments like that,
Yeah.
this it just feels different.
It's okay. I wish it was a little bit better, but I do know there's a lot of comics with even worse art style than that either do even better or like nobody really thinks about too much because they're more concerned about how the story was. But I think that the story, like so far, was pretty good, so I can definitely get down with it. But I do like the consistency too with like African culture. Like I know you say you don't wrote like all the like the weird names, and I kind of even forgot myself too. So what some of the shit meant. But one thing that I will say is that I do like how they did consistently stick to the fact that these people are Nigerian. And these are some of the things that Nigerians would typically do, the foods that they would eat, the way that their world would look, the way that where they live at looks, and some of the issues even that go on in Africa. So I give it to them. That was pretty good.
I'm invested in the world, but 7
Yep.
out of 10 for issue number 1.
Yep.
That was 31 pages. That was Unique Studios' is Iyanu, Child of Wonder, and they're adapting this into a TV show. I'm grateful to be in the know of how this TV show is gonna go.
Mm-hmm. Most def. Most
All
def.
that rhyming. Peace out. Subscribe. Hit the thumbs up. Share this with people. I'm gonna tag. Should I tag the writers?
You
Why,
can, yeah. Why
why
not?
not? Why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
See what they say. They might be like, "Oh, you showed too many pages." Hey, okay, sorry. We'll filter it out. We'll filter it out. But, maybe sometimes people
Yeah.
like to hear feedback of what people thought of their art.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the way that I'm seeing it too, and it could also get you noticed as well too. Like whereas like people are like seeing that you're talking about your their stuff on your channel. So yeah.
I'll continue talking about it because there's really not much exciting me. Oh, one thing I forgot. I didn't want to interrupt you. There's an artist whose name is Daniel Acuna,
Mm-hmm.
and his art is sort of like painty, watercolory, and
Yeah,
that's what this reminded me of. Do you know who that is?
I have never heard of them.
Well, the pictures are on screen right now because I'm editing. So that's who he looks like. See, now you see, right? Yeah.
Got you. Okay.
Peace out. We're out. Thanks to Cool Colas. His link is to the top left, and a video of his is right below. If you want to see Iyanu's sneak peek, there it is on the right side in full. Come support us, support it. Iyanu, Child of Wonder.